guys, it's Graham. Welcome to my channel, and today in Au Pair interview number 5, I'm going to be talking with Steph and T, the founders of Au Pair Tea. Before I jump into this interview, if you haven't already, please like this video, subscribe to the channel, and then go on over to your podcast streaming service and be sure to subscribe to their podcast. It's incredible. You're about to hear all about it. That being said, let's chat with the founders of Au Pair Tea. Alright guys, so I'm here with Steph and Tamar, the founders of Au Pair Tea. I'm so excited about this. They have just one of, maybe even the best au pair podcast I've heard. It's really, really fantastic. So just to start this interview, could y'all introduce yourselves and your podcast?
Do you want to go first, Steph?
Sure. Hi everyone, I'm Steph, one out of 2 of Au Pair Tea, from the UK originally. And I'm currently an au pair in Maryland, USA. I've been here since August, and I'm loving it. Me and T met over Instagram, and we started Au Pair Tea back in May, and our podcast was it November time? We started our podcast a little bit later than our Instagram page, but yeah,
I feel like it was a lot earlier. We did it before we left the UK.
We did.
So kind of summertime. We did it in the summertime.
Yeah.
But it was a little bit after our Instagram page, but yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I'm Tamar, but everybody calls me T, and I am the other half of Au Pair Tea. And yeah, I'm from the UK as well. Steph said that we met on Instagram. We never met before, like in person, before we came to the US. And I am an au pair in Raleigh, North Carolina, and I live with 3 amazing little host kids who I love very, very much.
Oh, that's so precious. That's so sweet. So the viewers, I was just talking about this. I'm from Rome, Georgia, which is, I guess, about 5 hours from Raleigh, but very, very close. So, you know, you're kind of in my neck of the woods, T. Like, it's pretty close. I imagine my accent is quite familiar to you.
I love it.
Yeah, yeah. It's a beautiful part of the U.S. Maryland too. It's a bit colder. I think even the people are generally a bit colder in that part of the U.S. They would probably say that.
Very privileged.
So, just to give a bit of background, how did y'all find yourself as au pairs in the U.S.? What was that process like?
It was messy, wasn't it, Steph?
Oh, yeah. For me, I applied a couple of years ago, and because of health issues, I couldn't continue with the program. So I sorted myself out. I got a job in the UK, and then I came back in November of 2019, and I reapplied. And I just wanted to kind of experience America as somebody that lived here rather than just traveling. So I wanted to experience American culture, American lifestyle. And I thought, you know, I love childcare. So being an au pair kind of gave me both of those things. And yeah, it's great. And so I actually went live on New Year's Day and matched by the end of January. And then the process to actually getting here was a lot.
I can imagine.
Because of the coronavirus hit, and my departure date was pushed back multiple times. So I was meant to leave in May originally, and I didn't end up coming here until August. And I actually had to go to Serbia for 2 weeks before I got here so that I could get into the country, which was
Serbia.
a whole crazy deal. Yeah, a 2-week stopover.
Oh my gosh, that's insane.
Yeah, but I'm here now and I'm loving it.
Pretty crazy.
That is incredible.
So I graduated from university in 2018. Then I went straight into a job as an English teacher at a school. I'd always thought, oh yeah, I'm going to do a gap year in my 2nd and 3rd year, or I'm going to go after university, but I just landed a job, and I think I was worried about not getting a job, so I went straight for it. Got to that job, didn't go very well, so I kind of left in early 2019. So I think I applied for the first time in January of 2019, and then like Steph, like I matched with a family, I had a departure date, I was ready to go, and literally a week before I was supposed to fly, there was a bit of a medical issue, and I ended up having to have treatment for something, and so I had to unmatch with the family, unfortunately. Oh, no. But then I got back into matching end of February of 2020, and then matched with my host family like after 5 days of being in matching. And then, I flew out after a lot of issues. Like Steph had to go to Serbia, but she already got her visa before the lockdown happened. I didn't have my visa when lockdown happened. So the only reason I could get it is because my host mom is a doctor and my host dad is the director of manufacturing at a company that does COVID shots and flu shots and things. So I was able to get a visa exemption, which is the only reason I'm here today. But it was well worth the wait, I think, for me personally.
And I'm loving incredible. That is incredible. And one of the things that I'm most interested to talk with y'all about is culture care. So for those of y'all watching who don't know, to be an au pair in the US, you have to go through an agency, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I've made it no secret in the past that I'm not a huge fan of agencies, but being that you have to use one to go to the US, it is something like that. So could you tell me a bit about y'all's experience with culture care and just how that process went?
Yeah, we did. Me personally, I did a lot of research before I applied for an agency, because I think everyone's heard horror stories about agencies, and you kind of want to do things off your own back, and there's always somebody kind of in your ear like, no, you got to do it this way. Yeah. But cultural care from the get-go were amazing. Someone phoned me as soon as I showed interest and was giving me all the information I needed, but not pressuring me to apply. They were just telling me what I needed to know, everything about the agency, everything about being an au pair in the USA. And they directed me to their social media channels, so I could get a bit more information from kind of au pairs themselves. Mm-hmm. And that, for me, that's part of cultural care that I love, is they have takeovers on their Instagram accounts where actual au pairs show their experience in real time and talk to you about their daily routine and how things are in America. And I loved that because, seeing it from the actual point of view that you're going to experience was great for me.
Yeah.
And everyone there was just so friendly. And so I applied with them in the end. And since we've started Au Pair Tea, they have just been so supportive of us. And mm-hmm. they don't say, oh, you can't say that, you can't do that. They let us be 100% honest with our experience mm-hmm. and everything. They have joined us on our podcast in the past. They constantly email us and say, doing a great job. Thank you for all the work you're putting in.
Oh, that's so nice.
So they're just so supportive. And when you talk to someone from cultural care, for us personally, they feel like friends rather than like an agency. They're really, really informal and friendly, and it's really nice. So personally, I've had great experience with them, but they've had their cons. That sometimes you're kind of like, well, why are you doing that? Like there's no common sense to that. But I guess that's just a business and business side mm-hmm. of it, But overall, I personally have had a great experience with them, and they're very supportive and an amazing agency mm-hmm. to go with, I think.
Yeah. I will kind of like echo what Steph said with all the positivity, and like we both had the same coordinator. Her name was Roz, and she doesn't work there anymore, but she was like phenomenal, the most amazing person ever. And especially when we both had medical issues, and so it could be, I think, to their credit, cultural care were amazing because it took both of us longer to get to the USA than it normally would, and we had so many setbacks. There was twice when I emailed her or I called her and I said, you know what, I think I'm done, I don't want to do it anymore. And something changed and she helped me through it. I will say that when we've spoken to au pairs in the past, particularly since coronavirus, their frustration is like, well, I can't get a visa and I can't do this and I can't do that. And I always say to them, to their credit, cultural care, like they made so many things happen in such a short space of time. And I remember that when I eventually got to the embassy and I got my visa exemption, my coordinator told me that I was the first person in the UK to have that experience. And so they were going through it with me. And she was like, wow. I'm sorry, I can't give you as much information because we're getting it as you are. So, and the whole Serbia thing, like cultural care have, they're not perfect. I know for some host parents I've spoken to some different types of host parents and they feel that the au pairs get more support than the host parents. Mm-hmm. But that's, it's a separate kind of entity. But I think overall they're pretty good, and they're not like some company that's just popped up. Like they've been here for more than 30 years. And I love being a part of cultural care, and we can't thank them enough for their support, can we, Steph?
No, oh no. And during the time, the uncertainty where we were like, are we even coming over here? We were constantly updated. As soon as Roz especially, as soon as she knew something, she was straight on the phone to us, like, this is what's happening, this is what we're doing right now, constantly talking about what they were doing as a company before it even come out into the world as information. She would be letting us know what they were doing to try and get us over there. And then to set up the Serbia trip for people so that they could get over here. Like, I wouldn't be here right now if they hadn't have gone out of their way to set up this way to get some au pairs into the country. I think it was amazing. They covered all the costs. They put us in a nice hotel so that we were comfortable. They sent someone over from cultural care to be with us so that we had support and we had someone to be there with us. So that's amazing. And I think in the circumstances, they've done a great job.
It's incredible. And one of the doubts, well, I don't even know if I would call it a doubt. One of the things that I hear most from people who are looking to be an au pair in the US is they tell me, you know, the agency is so much money. What if I don't like the family? What if I don't like the experience? What would you say to those people that aren't really 100% sold on it?
Do your research. We always say, do your research. And as much as we would say, yeah, go for it, the au pair life is amazing, you know, it's not perfect, but it's great. We both did a lot of research. That's part of the reason we created Au Pair Tea, to give people extra information, extra support. I think I completely understand people who are like, I'm not 100% sure, because it is, you know, it is a chunk of money, and you are essentially going to be living with strangers for at least a year. And
terrifying.
I think if you didn't have, I was like, am I actually doing this? This is a little bit weird. I would say, do your research and make sure you talk to your friends and family, because they probably know you better than you know yourself. And with cultural care, they, like Steph just said, they were always great if we ever had questions or concerns. So I just think just talking to people and really, really knowing what you're getting yourself into, even though every day is a little bit different.
Yeah.
It's pretty great.
With us, like, we're called Au Pair Tea because we spill the tea. Like, we're real, okay? And we say that au pair life is not a walk in the park. It is hard work. It's stressful, it's exhausting. Like, we're not gonna lie and say it's like the perfect life. That has its moments. Like, it is an amazing opportunity. When you're in it, we stress communication is key. Like, we can't stress that enough. So when you're in it and you're having if you're having problems with your host family, just talk to them, you know, and things can get sorted. I've just had an issue where there's things going on in my host family, and I considered going into rematch, but myself, my host family, and my LCC, who is our like support network within the USA, everybody is given an LCC. We sat down and we had a big meeting, and we talked through all the issues, all the problems. We were 100% honest, and things have been sorted out. We've been putting things in place to make my life easier, my life happier, and we're working through it. And it's all because I had communication. I spoke to them, and it really does work. Just being honest and open about your problems if you're having any. But there is always ways out.
Yeah. And that's I think a perfect segue into the next topic, which I wanted to talk about. And that is your general experience as au pairs in the US. So we've already kind of skimmed this a bit, but I know that the US and the UK are, I think, pretty similar culturally. I have a lot of friends here in the UK, and you know, we're pretty similar. But what was y'all's experiences like living with Americans who, although similar, are different, and adjusting to American culture and American life?
I think this is like something we've covered multiple times. I think one of the big things is that everything's a lot bigger here, like cars and roads and the food and everything like that. I think one of the main things that is kind of not shocked me, but kind of, you know, made an impact is the positivity. Like, so many Americans are so positive, and so I try to be as positive as I can, but I'm trying to play catch up with these people all the time. I do think that being around this kind of environment where everyone's really positive, and, you know, everyone's like, I don't know, we have, you know, people come around for sports or whatever, and like people go out and things. I think it's kind of made me feel like a part of something. And I think people here, especially, I think with the UK, some people can be considered quite cold and quite distant, kind of like stiff upper lip and all that. But here, like with our neighbors, like I feel genuinely like a part of their community. So I think for me, like with the culture, it's how people genuinely want you. They make you feel like they actually want you there, and they do. So yeah, apart from that and driving massive cars and stuff and
Right.
driving on the wrong side of the road, it's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think for me, when people ask me what the biggest difference was, I say the fridges are massive.
They're huge.
The fridges in the UK are like half the size of an American fridge. Like, it's crazy.
Yeah.
And for me, like, the food is not as good as people make it out to be. And like, I'm not bashing America, but I'm missing my British food.
Same.
I have always said there is nothing that quite tastes like the food from your home country. Because people say this about Spain a lot too. They're like, oh, the food. I'm like, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm convinced, like, it's a mental thing.
Yeah, and me and my host mum, we always joke about how like some things we use different words for. So like we call like a trash can a bin, and my host mum loves it. Like she always mocks me with my different words and things.
My 13-year-old host kid, he asked me the other day, we were doing homework, and he's like, can you pass me the rubber? And I was like, oh, I will pass you no such thing.
Oh my gosh.
You know, like borrador, like the rubber. I was like, oh okay.
My host kid does that. My oldest one will come up to me and she'll be like, T, watch me speak, and she'll go, hello mate. It's like, it's so funny. Like they do pick up words though that are from your native language. Like they definitely do, which is very funny.
Yeah, it is funny. And it throws me off a lot too. Like if my kids are like, yeah, we want chips. Like what I think are chips are very different than what they think are chips.
Not chips.
And like one I said the other day is because we obviously call gas petrol, and I said, there's a petrol station over there, and my host mum was like, what is that? Like, what is that? I was like, the petrol garage, and she was like, you mean a gas station?
Right, it's a garage as well, Steph. It's not a garage. It's a garage.
Yeah.
Sorry, garage. Sorry.
It is different. Yeah, it is different. And I have to be honest, I'm a little envious that y'all are in a country that speaks the same language. And that's another. That's kind of
hats off to people that are in that speak a different language. I think it's amazing that they come over. I would be so nervous. I think it's amazing.
Yeah, and that's kind of one of the things I wanted to ask y'all. You know, it would have been a lot easier to go, say, France or Germany or Spain, much closer to home. What made America, you know, the place that you wanted to be?
For me, I've always loved America. It was nothing to do with the language barrier for me with going to a European country. Just America has always been like a dream destination for me. I've never been here before now, but it's always just been a bucket list. Like everything on my bucket list is located in the USA.
Oh, wow.
So yeah, it was just a lot of things I wanted to experience. And because I feel like the UK is very Americanized through TV and movies and things like that, the way of life just seemed appealing to me, so I wanted to experience that. But it has been a lot easier not having the language barrier there. I don't think I could cope with like a foreign language because I know no foreign languages. Like bonjour is like as far as it goes.
I love that. For me, it was kind of the same. Like I wanted to go somewhere. Wherever I went, I knew I wanted to be somewhere for an extended period of time so that I could like explore in a way that a tourist can't. And I have like family in the USA that I've never met. So like my dad's dad, who isn't here anymore, but he went to Harvard in like 1950. And my dad's always talking about like, you know, his dad and his side of the family and things. And I'm like, I've never met them, but in a strange way, I kind of feel a bit closer to them now that I'm in their country and I can kind of experience things that they may have experienced. But yeah, the same, it's the kind of cliche American dream kind of thing. Like everyone wants to be here and everything's bigger and everything is just so much more, so much. Everything's really exciting here, and I love how many opportunities that we've had. We've not even been here for 6 months, and we've had so many different things that we can't do in the UK. So yeah, and I think the way of life is very appealing, like the attitude and the positivity and things like that.
Yeah, for me, like doing the au pair experience is allowing me to explore places I never would have as a tourist. Like if I was to come over here on a vacation, I'd go to Disneyland or, you know, Florida or California, maybe LA. But like I'm in Maryland and I never ever would have come here if I wasn't to have lived here. So it's allowing me to experience other states that I wouldn't have otherwise, which is amazing.
One of the things, and you're talking about you're coming to Atlanta, one of the things that I think a lot of Europeans don't grasp about the US is it's so large. And so, you know, in the UK, if you want to go skiing, you might go to, I don't know, say Austria or the Alps. You go to Colorado or Utah. So
that blows my mind.
Yeah, it's
crazy.
It's such a massive country. I mean, it's 4 hours Atlanta to LA flying. Just a huge country. So I love it that y'all are getting to enjoy that. So one thing about related to American culture is obviously I think the childcare culture in the US is not quite as big. I mean, there's not as many au pairs in the US as there are, say, in Paris or Madrid. So what has that been like for y'all meeting Americans, making friends in the US as au pairs?
I think obviously with COVID and stuff, it's hard anyway. So that's kind of restricting in a way. But I think one of the big things that it's not something that annoys me, but when people are like, "Oh, you're a babysitter or you're a nanny," I'm like, not quite.
Yeah.
I'm so much more. Well, I mean, we don't bash babysitters or nannies or anything like that, but we're on a different we're on the same spectrum, but we're at the different end of it. So I think for me it's been good meeting people. I mean, I'm like, we're friends with our neighbors and like we might watch football, we might like do a little outside things sometimes. So meeting friends is definitely difficult, I think, because everyone's a bit like, who are you? Why are you here? What's going on? Why are you in the house? But yeah, everyone's been super, super welcoming. And I think that it's just, I don't know, it's just a great place to be and I'm enjoying it here. Steph?
Yeah, I'm not friends with many Americans. Like I've spoken to like my host family's ex-nanny, and she's very nice. I was very lucky prior to coming here. I was very active on social media because I was so worried about meeting people over here. So I was very active in trying to find people that were going to be in my area or who would have been going to the training school that you do at the beginning of the program. Obviously that didn't happen because of COVID, but I was very active in like trying to find people. And so I made a lot of friends before I even arrived in the States through Instagram and things like that. So now I'm over here, I have met up with them and then met friends through them, who they've made friends through LCC groups, which is a great way of meeting people. And you know, I have friends from South Africa and Germany and Colombia and like everywhere. It's like crazy. The Netherlands, like the international, that's the part I love about this, is making friends from all over the world. And I think that's just a great thing. Like my German friends are trying to teach me a bit of German. And like my friends from South Africa, they call traffic lights robots, and like that,
weird, right?
It's so weird. Yeah. And then like when a red light lasts more than a minute, they call it a picnic robot. And like I just find it so bizarre, but like learning those things through friends that you've made from all over the country, I think is just such a special part of this experience. But yeah, I was lucky, and I think we're lucky to be au pairs in this time where we do have social media, where we can connect with people and keep in touch with people, and we have Zoom, so like we can still meet up with people virtually. And I think we're very lucky to be au pairs in this time.
Yeah, I can't imagine living 4,000 miles from home without WhatsApp, you know, or being able to FaceTime my mom.
I know. My host mom was telling me a story. One of her friends, she's a grandmother now, but she had an au pair back in the day, and they would only communicate by handwritten letters. Like they matched, they never saw each other before they came over. It was just handwritten letters. That scares me.
That's a lot of trust going in there.
Right.
Yeah. There's no way. I wouldn't do it.
Never.
There's no way. So the last topic that I want to talk with y'all about, because I know we're running out of time, is y'all's podcast. So we've kind of talked about it a bit here and there, but I want the viewers to know exactly what y'all's podcast is about. So Au Pair Tea is your podcast. What exactly is Au Pair Tea?
So when we first created just the social media page for Au Pair Tea, our idea was that when we were researching becoming au pairs, the only videos and things we found were mainly of au pairs who were already in the States or already wherever they needed to be, or were just reflecting on a past time. And we were like, there's not really any people that are going through it now that we could kind of relate to as much. I mean, our biggest influence is Au Pair Au Paris or A-pop, who are just incredibly amazing. And I think they're very well known in the au pair community. But when we wanted to do the podcast, we were like, let's extend and let's give them, because I feel like you get a lot more when you listen as well to people, and it's good because we can kind of bounce things off each other. So the main reason for our podcast was to extend our Instagram page by giving support on given topics. So we have covered so many topics, like how to find a perfect host family, things about homesickness, top tips and things like that. And some of the episodes are things that people have asked us to do. So really, we're here just to support au pairs who are going through it and to kind of document our time as we're going through it. And I like that because we don't know where our podcast is going to go. We don't know what we plan some things ahead, but sometimes we're like, let's leave a gap and see what's happening at that time. And I think a lot of au pairs come over here and they speak a foreign language, so they document their experience in their home language, in which when I was researching, I didn't understand what they were saying. So like I couldn't get much information. And then I feel like the information I could get was very commercialized, like videos that Cultural Care or whoever had made to look amazing and like draw people into the experience, which is part of being a business. So we called it Au Pair Tea so that we could give all the real tea on what it's actually like. We don't want to fake what it's like. We want to give everyone the real information and as much detail as we can. And having a podcast, episodes can be up to an hour long. So we can really give in detail information, everything that people need to know about a specific topic. So we did a really long one on like the money situation, because when we get questions in our DMs, a lot of it is about the money side of it. Like how much do you get paid? Is it enough to live on? How does it work with paying taxes? All this kind of stuff. So we did like a really in-depth information episode on money specifically. And we get a lot of DMs saying how much our podcast has helped people understand different topics more in depth, which is what our aim was. I love that, because I think one of the things that really excites me is that how we are not the biggest influencers. I wouldn't even call us influencers. We're not the biggest podcast out there, but it's when those people do message and say, thank you so much, I really enjoy your podcast. I mean, Steph, who's our biggest fan out there? I mean, your dad is our biggest fan. My dad is our biggest fan. Oh my God, he loves it so much. He does. He listens to it. He puts his AirPods in. It's adorable.
Y'all will have to watch on my videos. Every once in a while, you will see somebody post something like, "Love this video, so good." It's always my grandmother. Okay, if you see that, it's my grandmother.
That's adorable. I love that.
It's the cutest thing in the world. So I totally get what you're saying. Like, it is such a good feeling to know like you did help somebody where you did not have help, like you provided something. Right. So what can we expect out of Au Pair Tea in the future? What's to come?
Wow. Goodness knows.
Yeah, we kind of just wing it. We've just started a series on our podcast, actually very similar to this, what you're doing on your YouTube channel, called In Tea Views. Pun intended. Where we are interviewing like it's very similar to what you're doing, and we're interviewing au pairs and everyone from all over the world and talking about different experiences. We actually have a very exciting episode that we are recording in the next couple of weekends with twins that are coming over. A spoiler alert. They're coming over here together, and we just thought that was incredible. What? So that is so cool. Yeah, so we've just started that. We are in the plans of trying to like make a little bit of like merchandise, maybe. Spoilers. Yeah, you can just expect to see us probably go a little bit crazy, probably. Yeah, if we aren't already. We have our 6-month update coming up. Then we're going to be talking about our extension. So like we're just taking everyone through our journey, which is fun.
Yeah, it's incredible. And I mean, seeing the content, if y'all are not following them, if you're watching this, you have to go and follow them. Seeing the content y'all produce, I think it's very reasonable to expect, you know, a really, really high level of subscription coming to y'all's channel because it's good stuff and it's useful, even for me, you know, somewhere completely different in completely different part of the world. I think it's such a fantastic resource for all you au pairs. So the very last question that I am going to ask, and I ask this in all my interviews, if y'all could give just one piece of advice to a young man or woman who's looking to become an au pair, what would you say to them?
I think everyone says the same thing, like, just do it. Just do it. Like, it's a once in a lifetime opportunity, and it changes you as a person in the best way possible. You know, you'll grow up to have the memories that you create for the rest of your life, and it's amazing. And you know, I never thought I would be the sort of person to do this sort of thing, but I have come so far and I've grown in confidence and I am so happy, and I can't recommend being an au pair to people enough, unless you don't like children, in which case don't do it.
Don't do it. That's your advice. I would say go at it, and go at it with your whole heart. Just do it. You've got it. You'll be amazing.
And embrace every single second. Everything that happens, embrace it. Live in the moment. Yeah, and communication.
Yeah, it's so important. I tell au pairs all the time, it's, you know, you feel like you're going to be an au pair forever, but you're not. It ends eventually. I speak from experience. It ends eventually. So take advantage of each and every second. It's so important. All right, guys, thank you so much for watching this interview. And if you enjoyed it, be sure to go and follow Steph and T over on Instagram and subscribe to their podcast. It's incredible, and I'm sure it's gonna help you out. Also, be sure to like and subscribe to this video and let me know in the comments what you would like to see next. Muchas gracias por ver y hasta luego. Ciao.